Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we have something a little bit different. As you can see, we have a very special guest with us. So Sisse, would you like to introduce yourself to us?
Sure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for your time.
It's really wonderful to be here in Marrakesh. My name is Sisse Brimberg, and I am a photographer. I've been working almost all my adult life with National Geographic in one capacity or another. Um, I I came to Geographic in my mid-20s. At that time, Geographic was looking for a young photographic staff, and they got that. And believe me, it was wild and crazy.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Why did I want to go to the Geographic in the first place? Well, it came from that I'm a commercial photographer as background. That's my education. And then very shortly after I had finished my education, I had my own studio in Copenhagen. I started to travel. I was sent by a book publisher out to take pictures from different places, and it was like in other countries. Like I went to Stockholm, I went to Paris, to Rome, and to New York City, and I thought, oh, this is pretty damn good, and I like that. And then where can I go here in the world? Because I was in Copenhagen. Where can I go where there's a community where I can get inspired by other people's work and so on? And it was very simple, straightforward. National Geographic was the place to go.
Sure.
It wasn't straightforward and simple to get there.
I'm sure, yeah.
It took a lot of work, and it took that was old days where you sent letters.
Yes.
And that was very interesting, and I introduced myself in a letter to the director of photography, and I received a letter from the Geographic, and I came into my studio, and the letter was delivered already, laying on the floor, and I looked at it, and I knew that this letter potentially could change my life.
Sure, yeah.
And so, typical me, and especially as a young person, I was kind of very rattled by the letter, and I didn't open it for a whole week.
You're kind of nervous for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was definitely nervous because I could see it. I could see the potential, and of course I could also see the disappointment if it was a negative answer.
Sure.
That would have been devastating.
Especially the reputation of the Geographic, yeah.
It was what I wanted to do, and then I opened the letter, I read it, and it was kind of not like a straightforward invitation.
Okay.
It was a little more kind of reluctant.
Like, we'll give you a try, or, something.
Something about that the Geographic had another window intern, like that was what I wanted to be, and some guy from somewhere, and then it had never worked out.
Okay. Yeah.
So therefore they said they had a negative experience that way. But if I decided to go to the Geographic, they would do all what they could for me, and that was the invitation. I didn't care about whoever had failed before me.
Sure.
That was none of my business. And so, so with that invitation, I went out and I got grants from different places in Denmark to send me there.
Wow, yeah.
And I got the money together, and then I went to the Geographic, and I started there. I started as an unpaid intern, and then my boss, Bob Gilka, was a very, very decent man to work for. And after 1 week of work like that, I was being paid.
Wow,
to do the work. So that was really good. Yeah,
that's good.
I needed that money.
I'm
because
sure.
My budget was very tight. And so I started to work there, and after I was supposed to be there for 3 months, and at the end of the 3 months, they sent me out on assignment photograph one picture for a story that they were doing in Savannah in Georgia. They were not pleased with the pictures they had because it didn't fit the kind of the lead shot for the
Okay.
story. So it was just like go out and shoot the lead shot.
Yeah, yeah.
That has to be the best. So
Sure. No pressure then.
no pressure at all. And I can remember I was just as scared right there again when I flew down to Savannah because then in the past I had been sent to these different assignments and I had like 14 days, perhaps 3 weeks to do a whole book.
Yeah.
And this time it's one picture
Yeah.
in a week. That's just as scary as the pressure the other way.
Sure.
So I did that and I came home and that picture that I produced did become the lead picture for the story.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the story later on got killed for different reasons, but at least I had the lead
Yeah.
shot.
But it wasn't because of you.
Not because of me, which was
Good, yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, I started to work for the Geographic.
Yeah.
More in a more permanent
Sure.
basis, and after I can't remember how long time, but then I became a contract photographer
Okay. Yeah.
at the Geographic, and I was that until I had my first child. And typical in those days, you were laid off when you had a child.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was expected.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
expected it, but at the same time, disappointment.
Of
But,
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I came back and became a contract photographer again, and so it that's how it goes. And I have worked for the magazine. That's of course the yellow border.
Yes.
And then I worked for Traveler magazine. I worked for World magazine. That was a children's magazine in old days. And so I photographed a lot of cats and dogs. Yeah.
For the kids. Yeah.
I sat miserable days and waited for these animals to show up. Oh, the cat was here this morning. We can't find him. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And well, I also worked as a still photographer for TV.
You've had a long career. I mean, it's
I
a lot of
had
things.
long
Yeah.
and varied career.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because then also because of my commercial background, then I became I worked in the studio. We had a big commercial studio at the Geographic.
Okay.
Because we did promotion of our products there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was with large format. And
Okay,
so,
yeah.
it was wonderful.
Do like 8x10, like
Yes.
that large? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't know how nice it is when,
Oh, I'm
when
sure.
the Polaroid for an 8x10 it flies everywhere. I love it. You just like you look at it and then you're like, oh yeah, no, perhaps a little different. And the pile of 8x10 Polaroids is just like it mounts up, but it was fun.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had like Cinars. I don't even know if that exists today, but it was kind of like the Rolls Royce of cameras.
Okay, yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And and then I was in charge of the studio for 11 months. So I was a staff photographer at that time.
Nice. Yeah.
And then my husband got a job out in San Francisco. And of course, I couldn't be in charge of the studio at the same time in Washington, D.C.
Sure.
So we moved to San Francisco, and I was super happy when I was hired. And I was super happy when I resigned.
Sure. Yeah.
So
For
that was
various
good.
reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I had proven to myself that this could happen. And then it needed a change. And
Sure,
the change
yeah.
came that way.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Good. Yeah. And I mean, obviously, over the course of your career, you've had many stories or many photographs that have wound up on the cover of the publications that you've been working for.
Sure.
Is there any particular story that really stands out to you, either as being something very challenging that you were happy that you worked through, or just anything else that you've been particularly proud of for any reason?
Well, yeah, it was challenging. I'm proud. and it was wonderful. I worked on a story about the prehistoric painted cave.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And then my background in commercial photography and how to put light on a subject was really good. So I had never photographed caves before.
Yeah.
I got to do that, and that was amazing. I worked in Lascaux Cave, and Lascaux Cave is a cave that is in central France, and it's from 18,000 years ago, and it was an immense privilege to be in there. And it was so pressured, you can't believe it.
I'm sure.
It was this thing about going to France for 6 weeks, and then I would go into the cave 3 times, and that would be like in the first week, in the third week, and in the 6th week, because you could not have 3 days in a row because I didn't have a permit. I was riding on coattails of the French Cultural Ministry's photographer's permit.
I see. Yeah.
So that was it, and then it's an hour each time. That's the amount of time. So you can just imagine, you get into an airtight chamber, and then you have a formaldehyde bath where you have to walk through with your shoes, because otherwise you drag in all the bacteria. And then you have to go down. Luckily, Lascaux Cave have stairs, 3 flights of stairs down, that made it easy to access.
Sure.
And then, but it's very dimly lit. To not damage the paintings. Of course, these lights were only on when there was a presence in the cave.
Right.
Otherwise, they're certainly turned
So
off.
very challenging lighting conditions, very small amount of time to try to get a good photograph. So
You bet. It was like, So then you walk into the chambers, several chambers, and then you have to decide what pictures you're going to take or what picture you're going to take.
Yeah.
You unpack your equipment, you put up your lights and your tripod for your camera, and then you take the picture, and then you have to pack it up again, all the equipment, and get back out, and then all has to
within
take
an hour.
Within an hour. Yeah.
So very quick.
Yeah, and that was pretty difficult. In the end, the lead shot for the story, that also was a gatefold, which was really good.
Yeah.
That was taken. I don't even know if you recognize when I say it was a 283 Vivitar strobe.
No, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Way back when. And it was a little strobe that most often sat on a hot shoe on top of the camera.
Oh, I see. Okay,
And then from there on, you used it, and I used that strobe to light up the the cave, because then I would be dressed in black, because then I wouldn't show up in the pictures. And also, you have to know exactly how to behave so that you don't get like 25 like silhouettes of yourself.
Right.
That looks kind of bad.
Yeah, in body. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So then then you walk around, and then you use the flash to light up the cave, and then it was all shot on color negative, because if you did any mistakes, color negative film was much more forgiving than transparency. Transparency has this thing about, like you can burn it out and you can't retrieve any kind of information. So that was it.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. And the most amazing moment of the whole thing was at one time, I was very good friends with the caretaker of the cave, a man who had found the cave when he was 12 years old.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, in 1940. And he invited me in to the cave. I could not take pictures because the photographer wasn't there, nor Pavornoc. And so what I did, the idea of it was that I was just going to sit and enjoy the cave. And I sat in the cave for half an hour when he did his rounds to check all temperature and whatever. then I just sat in what's called the Bose chamber and looked at these magnificent paintings. And
That's
I don't
incredible.
think, yeah, I don't think there's anyone that really had that
Yeah,
experience.
just to sit and
Yeah,
enjoy it for what it
yeah,
was. Yeah,
yeah.
that's incredible. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was, I just like, I knew it was incredible.
Yeah,
And I enjoyed it because I loved the cave. I thought, and I still love the cave. And I thought that that was an amazing opportunity
I'm
to
sure.
just enjoy what our forefathers, foremothers, whatever, whoever the artists that have been working in there
Yeah,
have created.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so
Very cool.
that was my favorite.
So obviously, you've been working with National Geographic for a long time now, both as, photographer and then now kind of doing the expeditions like this
I
to.
think I'm still a photographer.
Well, you are absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
and
But
I'm still here in the expedition role. In my role there with expeditions, I'm still taking pictures, but then I also really love to make other people take better photographs with whatever camera they have. They have an iPhone. I have an iPhone.
Sure.
You know, so and it's just a joy for me to be capable of encourage other people to take pictures or take better pictures.
Sure, yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Just going a little forward. Yeah.
So how do you find that? Because obviously I think that it's wonderful and very valuable to have critiques from other photographers. But if you maybe don't have access to that, how do you continue to work on your own photography and try to improve and,
I know what you mean, and it is. I don't know. It's a little difficult because now my husband passed away, and he was a photographer also from.
So you could bounce ideas
Yes,
off each other, sure,
we
all the
competed.
time, yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious, we did, and we were working on the same stories, and then he always said, "I'm so happy I'm on your team."
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was so much fun because, when we downloaded the pictures and we downloaded into one folder. So and sometimes you could say, well, you can always trace with whose camera it is,
Sure,
and that's
sure.
right. But then we also sometimes change cameras.
Yeah.
So there was really no way like anyone at the Geographic,
Sure.
because we worked for Traveler magazine.
Yeah.
That really could determine whose pictures it was.
Interesting,
And
yeah.
it was very interesting because then people said, "Oh, that picture that must have been yours, or it must have been Cotton's." They were always wrong.
So you felt that the two of you had a very similar style, a kind of a similar way to look at things and photograph things.
Yeah, and then at one time we did a story where we both decided that we were gonna make pictures with our favorite lens, and that would be like he chose a 35, I chose a 28, and then there was the Leica M series, and we did that. It was a story about the Russian colony up in the Arctic region of Svalbard.
Okay, yeah.
And just one lens.
Wow,
No
yeah.
more, no
Yeah,
less. Yeah.
I think it's I like kind of challenging myself in that way of like, okay, I'm just going to take one lens and use that and do
Yeah.
that. I find like, when I'm traveling or doing something like this, I tend to bring more things because I don't want to miss a shot.
sure. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think that it's wonderful as a way to challenge yourself and try to
Yeah.
just focus in and know that
Yeah.
one lens very well. Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, and so, well, obviously, I think obviously deep down inside, I'm ambitious. That was something you couldn't mention as a Dane.
Okay.
Danes,
The culture, you have to be very humble.
ambitious,
Yes, I see.
That's kind of a little bit of a dirty word. But in American English, it's not.
It's
Yeah.
very accepted. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I am, and I love to surprise myself with my photography.
Sure.
Yeah, and see, you get into some of these situations and you think, oh, I can't do this again. I've been there a million times, but then if you're not gonna die from boredom, then you gotta come up with something better, something new and different.
Sure.
And I literally, I try still to do that because I feel if I'm not doing that, why am I out here?
Sure.
Yeah.
And so just always pushing yourself to,
Always,
yeah,
yeah. So that is it's something that burns inside me. Uh-huh.
I think
Yeah.
just to kind of finish up, do you have any general advice for someone that might be looking to work in a publication like National Geographic, like Traveler Magazine, or even just a general professional working photographer? Because I think there's so many people that enjoy photography but struggle to maybe make it a profession.
Yeah. Well, the what can I say? You have to have a style,
Sure.
unique style.
You have to be, yeah, have something that sets you
Yes.
apart from somebody else.
Yes.
Yes.
Otherwise, again, there there are lots of great pictures out there. So again, if you're competing with the great pictures and they're for free,
Yeah.
yeah, then it's
Right.
not. You literally do have to have some commitment in towards your own photography, and that's very important. And then I would say I've always felt that taking pictures of what interests you, what attracts you, that is a good way to go. Don't put too many hurdles
Sure.
in your creative way because it's just gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
You're gonna you're gonna suffer. You're gonna focus on the wrong thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly on overcoming these hurdles where you should be focusing on creating better imagery. So
Sure.
that's it. And yeah, so concentrate on your passion and uh, go to workshops and have situations together where you can have exchange with other photographers. That's really super good. Where you can meet picture editors
Sure.
that can also give
Can
you
help
a
critique and
direction
yeah.
and critique
Yeah.
and yeah, you start also to make a name for yourself and
Yeah, sure.
and that's some of the things I think like all the ways that we did in the old days doesn't exist anymore.
Sure. Things have changed a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I feel very fortunate to have been able to get some critiques from you on my own work during the trip and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, anytime that you can work with other working photographers is always very, very beneficial.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. You learn from it, and it's fun to get that.
Yeah.
Do that.
Lovely. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you sitting down with me. This has been a really phenomenal trip in general, being able to explore and wander around, and I think it's fantastic that Nat Geo still offers these expeditions to be able to meet people like yourself and other well-known photographers to come along. So yeah, so thank you.
I think it's really good too because I get to go to all these wonderful places and meet wonderful people and take pictures. It's fantastic.
Yeah. What more could you ask for?
And get good food.
Yes. So much food. Yes. Yes.
So much.
Yes. Well, again, thank you very much for your time. I hope that everyone has really enjoyed this quick interview with Sisse. It's been really phenomenal to be able to spend some time with her during this whole trip. Like I said, get some critiques on my own work from her has been invaluable. Yeah, I hope you will have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.